Ahoy there, fellow gamers! RoboCharged here, and lately I've really enjoyed diving into the full release of U-Boat. But to be honest, at first I found it a little intimidating, trying to figure out how to calculate my own torpedo solutions. So I always delegated that task to my crew. Eventually, however, I became determined to do it on my own, and once I started, the game instantly felt even more fun and immersive than before. So just in case anyone else finds themselves in the same, U-boat? Yes, sorry, bad pun, I know. Anyways, this video will attempt to demonstrate the simplest way to begin calculating your own torpedo solutions, and have you racking up tonnage in no time. Alright, so there are 4 key pieces of information needed for an accurate torpedo solution, and they are: identification, determine the class and type of the target ship; velocity, which is the speed of the target ship; angle on bow, the angle of the target ship relative to your position; and distance, just how far away the target ship is. Okay, so you have located a ship and are closing in to attempt to sink it. For many reasons, which I'll mention later, it is best to approach as perpendicular to the ship's course as possible. Also, setting up ahead of it allows time for torpedoes to cover the distance once fired and intercept it for a more direct hit. Once in range, reducing your speed or even coming to a full stop helps for targeting as well. Now, if someone isn't already, hold tab and assign your captain or an officer to the attack periscope for submerged attacks. If firing on the surface, then you need someone to man the targeting sight on the bridge. Holding shift allows you to turn faster as you scan around. Once you have the ship in your sights, lock onto it by briefly pressing E. And now, you are ready to begin determining a torpedo solution. Now that you are locked on, if you are close enough like I am now, the game will fully identify the ship for you. But at more of a distance, it will only give you the class, and then it'll be up to you to determine the type. This gets easier the more you see of the different ships. Focus mainly on the number and placement of the masts and funnels. But also, note how high or low it sits in the water, along with its general shape and length, to find the best match. Not getting this right can cause a miss, since the ship's measurements will be all wrong, thus throwing off your calculations. But no pressure. For this, click on the chronometer tool in order to determine the speed the ship is moving at. Aim your crosshairs right at the tip of the ship's bow, and then press start to begin the timer. Facing the side of the ship makes this much easier to see how long it takes for the ship to travel its own length. Once the stern of the ship crosses through your sights, hit stop and then simply click set to lock that in, and it will give you the ship's movement speed. In certain situations when you already know a ship's speed, like say for a stationary one docked in a harbor, you can just manually type in a value and hit enter as well. AOB refers to the ship's angle relative to your U-boat's position. So if you are on the ship and looking out at where the sub is located, the angle of that view is what we are looking to find here. Now, since this is meant as a beginner's guide, I'm going to cover the simplest method. In fact, this is so easy it will even give you your distance at the same time. Just hit M to bring up your map and click on the protractor tool. Then, draw a line from middle to middle between your submarine and the ship, and then extend it out through the bow in the direction the ship is heading. And just like that, you have your AOB right here. And even the distance as well. Now the last thing to consider here is what side of the ship you are on, port or starboard, meaning, are you to the ship's left or to the ship's right? Once again, looking through the periscope. Weird, I don't know where this 64 degrees came from. Anyway, bring up the AOB tool and make sure this up top here is set to angle on bow. I'm to the ship's left, so I'll be setting my 82 degrees on the red side of the dial, and it will have a negative value attached. When you are to the ship's right, set your AOB on the green side. Now the catch here is for anyone eventually wanting to play on 100% realism, you'll have to learn to do this by eye. That is because boats are no longer shown on the map at that difficulty. But I think the best way to learn how to roughly estimate the angle on your own is by starting out like this at first anyways, and seeing enough different looks and situations. And of course, if you try to set yourself up for a near 90-degree attack, you can hopefully pretty much just go with around 80 to 100 degrees as a range for estimation. If you use the map and protractor AOB method, then you already have a rough distance. But I'm going to quickly go over it anyways, because at least for me, the game tends to enter some wrong data automatically at times. Look at this distance. We know it's around 2.1 kilometers from earlier on the map, but somehow I've got 2.6 in here. This calculation is all about adjusting a ghost ship image so that its water level is just above the tip of the tallest mast of the actual target ship in the background. To get the feel for this at first, it can help to go to your map one last time and double check your distance by using the ruler and drawing a line.
Los!
Now with 100% of the data collected, it's time to bring up the torpedo tubes. Click on them to begin flooding the desired tubes. Also, be sure to click on each of the little speech bubble buttons down below to communicate your data with your crew for input into the TDC. Once the data has been inputted, a green light will appear next to each one. In this case, I'm going to lower the dispersion to keep my spread closer together. Sometimes you need to resend the AOB since it continues to update automatically after you first enter it. Now, it's time to issue the order to fire. And then, there's nothing left to do but wait anxiously, hoping for success.
Treffer! Feuer an Deck! Schwere Schäden! Feindliches Schiff getroffen!
One final reason why attacking from the side is so important is because torpedoes that make contact at a near 90-degree angle are much less likely to be a dud and fail to trigger. Well, hopefully this covered enough to help anyone looking to get started with finding their own torpedo solutions. I find that doing this yourself really goes a long way toward making you feel even more like a U-boat captain. And sinking ships even seems more rewarding as well. I want to thank you all for watching, and until next time, happy hunting, skippers. Take care.